Hey everyone, this is a video that deals with creating your mini presentation and what you should include in that presentation. So first of all, before we get started here, I want you to know that this presentation is low stakes. What do I mean by that? Hey, this is a 10-day course. This is a drive-through. You're not sitting down hours on end, and it's not a semester-long 16-week course. So this presentation is low stakes. I really just want you to walk through the process of what it means to conduct a statistical investigation and just record what you did in that process. Get the experience of creating research questions, how to collect data, how to analyze data, and how to sort of kind of interpret your findings based on the content that we've covered. We've only been in this class a few days, so I don't expect you to be experts on what you're talking about, but I do expect you to have some understanding and try to relate what you're doing to the content that we've covered in the course the last few days. So the three tabs that should be open is your Screencast-O-Matic homepage tab. You should have your CODAP rollercoaster data information pulled up, and you should have your PowerPoint presentation handy so you can pull it up and talk about your first two slides. So going back to Screencast-O-Matic, when you press Launch Recorder, you're going to have about 5 options that are available. So I want you to choose both. I want to see your webcam and I want to see your screen. Also, the next thing you're going to have to choose is the maximum time. Choose 15 minutes. Anything less than 15 minutes might not be enough time. Anything more than 15 minutes, you're going to have to pay for. I want to see full screen 1080 pixel, not 720. Also, make sure your computer audio and your narration is on, so your mic's working. God forbid you record for 12 minutes and your mic wasn't on and nobody can hear what you're saying. So then you'll have to re-record. So with that said, you launch your recorder. After you launch your recorder, you should go to your PowerPoint presentation and go ahead and give me the title of your investigation. Rolling with Roller Coaster Data, CODAP Investigation. Introduce yourself, a mini presentation by James Smiley. And also I mentioned researcher bias, or your worldview, what you bring to the table in your research. Because to a certain degree, you'll always be influenced by your worldview, your prior experiences, and your knowledge. So we always bring that to the table because this will influence how you make your decisions when you do research, especially how you collect your data, how you analyze your data. Your next slide, slide number 2, you should have a task statement. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. Be creative. Conduct a statistical investigation using roller coaster data from CODAP. And then you'll need to list your hypothesis 1 and 2, research question 1 and research question 2 based on your hypothesis. So hypothesis 1, I think that newer roller coasters have greater drops that may affect speed. The research question that I've derived from that is, does the height of dropping roller coasters tend to contribute more to the top speed in newer roller coasters? Then you have a second hypothesis and a second research question that was based on that second hypothesis. A hypothesis, as you know, is nothing more than a hunch. And that hunch is, like I said, influenced by your experiences, previous knowledge, and your worldview. Escape from this. Then you'll go to your CODAP data. Now, I encourage you ahead of time, go ahead and have your research questions typed out in your text boxes. How do I get text? Click on text. How do I change the headers? Just double click and start typing on your headers. How do I get out of my research question? How do I get out of my text box? Exit out. Put your research questions down here. Just put them out of the way so you can go ahead and analyze your data. Okay? So you can discuss how you came about getting this research question if you want to, but I'd be careful with my time. As you can see, I'm already at 5 minutes. So you can get carried away. You can get in the weeds, especially like me. So try to stay focused. So have your research question typed out, and I'll go ahead and tell you ahead of time, you can go ahead and type out your conclusion or your analysis if you want to. That'll help you as well, so you won't miss anything. So I'll press graph, and I'll just address my first research question. So my first research question was, does the height of drop in roller coasters tend to contribute more to the top speed in newer coasters? So I'm talking about newer coasters here, but I really want to look at all coasters in general. So older, recent, and newest coasters. All that they're really going to give me right here is a count of the percent. I really don't care about that. But what I do care about is getting the newest, but I want to start broad. I want to start general. I want to start with all my coasters, and then I'll slowly narrow it down. That's called exploratory data analysis. Is when you start really broad, really general, and then you start getting into the fine-grained nuances of your research question. So the next thing I may look at, obviously there's, like I said, there's more newer than recent, there's more recent than newer, and there's a few older in this database. So the next thing I want to look at is I'm going to just look at drop height. So when I look at drop height, first thing I notice is older coasters have low drop heights. Recent coasters, the drop heights are a little bit higher, and new coasters, the drop heights are much higher. Also want to talk about variation. So older coasters are really clustered as far as drops are concerned. Not much variation here. More recent coasters, the drop heights are more spread out. So I have more spread. And my newer coasters have the greatest spread. So let's see what my numbers are looking like here. So I'll just click on everything. So I got less variation, a little bit greater variation, and the greatest variation. Now, if I was to take out this outlier, I'd probably have less variation. I'd probably be more similar to recent. My box probably wouldn't be as wide as it is because there's a lot. But then again, there's a lot of clustering right here, and this is even more spread out around my box. So I can see, though, that my drop heights tend to increase the newer my coasters are, just by looking at the mean and median for each. Also, I have some overlap in my boxes here from older to recent, and then I have some overlap from recent to newest. So you might want to just use that page, the guidelines for interpreting box plots. So you might want to use some information off that page if it's useful. So I'm seeing some things right here as far as ages are concerned and drop height. Now, what really piqued my curiosity was type. So let me take off these measures because measures aren't going to change because of the type of coaster. So if I look at type, it really looks like, let's go to high. Let's go to high drops. So it looks really similar right here. I got some neon green and I got some pink. Over here, though, in my recent coasters, I have a bunch of neon green but no pink. So that tells me that my recent coasters, my steel recent coasters, have greater drop heights than even my steel and wooden older coasters. Also right here, my newest steel coasters, it looks like a lot of them have greater drop heights than my recent coasters. And I see very little wooden coasters with high drop heights. Sorry, that's my house phone. I'm not going to record this thing over again. Just let it go. I apologize. So type. So let me take this off. Let me remove it. And let me go to top speed and see what top speed does. Interesting. So my top speed is a color gradient. And lower top speeds are lighter color, higher top speeds are darker colored. Now this tells me a whole lot right here. I see a lot of grayish green right here, but my color's getting darker up here. lot of light gray, a lot of dark green. A lot of light gray, a lot of dark green. So what this is telling me is regardless of the age of my coasters, my top speed is definitely influenced by my drop height. So, now I can sort of glean some, make some conclusions, since I've gleaned some information by looking at the graphs using different variables. So here's what I typed up, and I encourage you to go ahead and type it up. So what I said was that the height of drops are greater in steel coasters in relation to wood coasters. We knew that when we did the color coding, the neon green and the pink. Newer roller coasters tend to be steel, and this contributes to the drop height. We also seen that on the third graph. There is a general trend that regardless of coaster age, and we see that right here, regardless of coaster age, there's a relationship between drop height and speed. So what is that relationship? The tendency is for coasters with higher drops to have faster speeds. So that's my process of collecting data, analyzing data, and interpreting the results that I found. Now, could I have used different variables and gleaned different information? Maybe that would have gave me a different picture. Absolutely. Research and the way I approach my research really depends upon the theoretical foundations and the theoretical framework that I use. That will influence how I go about collecting my data. So yeah, you could have looked at 2 or 3 more variables and they could have gave you a different aspect on the particular research question that I examined. So that's just one research question. I don't have time for the second research question, but I'm pretty sure you're going to talk a little bit faster. You won't show 4 graphs. All you need to do is show me 2 graphs for the first research question and 2 graphs for the second research question, and have your conclusions already typed up here. And so it's pretty straightforward. The last thing you'll need to do is give me a wrap up and just give us a little 20-30 second blurb about what you would change in your research approach, what you thought you did well, and what you think you might can better on. And that's pretty much it. Just like I said again, this thing is low stakes. This is our first exposure to it. We've got limited experience with it, so I don't expect you to hit it out of the park the first go around, because doing research takes time, it takes effort. You get better the more you do it, and we're just trying to get our feet wet here. So enjoy. If you got any questions or concerns, just email me, but try to have your link submitted by tomorrow at midnight. And I wish you the best.